Do you ever stop looking at your planner because you're just a little bored with the whole thing? Same old thing, week after week, month after month. Well, that's a little bit about how I'm feeling. So today, we're going to see what we can do about jazzing up our planners, making some changes as we come in to the new month of August. So stay with me. Well, hi everyone, this is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today, I have to be honest with you, I'm getting a little bored with my planner. Now, normally that doesn't happen to me, and I don't really know what's going on, but I do feel like that there are some things that I could do to change things in my planner to jazz it up just a little bit. And maybe you are feeling the same way. I think it might have to do with the beginning of the school year and all the back to school supplies and all the planners and the shiny bright objects that are out there for you to look at. And you look at your own planner and you think, yeah, I've been using this one for 6 months or more and I'm a little sick of it. Well, today I want to talk to you a little bit about what you can do, especially if you're using a digital planner like I'm doing in OneNote, things that you can change or tweak or jazz things up just a bit. So let's jump into the computer and let's take a look at my planner. Maybe you guys have some new ideas too. I'd love to hear your ideas. I'm looking for new weekly layouts, okay? So we're going to go through a few of the weekly layouts that I've been using in the past. And if you have an idea for a new weekly layout that you would like to see me create and think that I might enjoy using in the future, please leave it in the comments below. Okay? All right. Thanks very much for all of your help. Well, as you can see here on my screen, what I thought I would do is I'm just going to kind of quickly jump through the months so far and let you see what I've been using. Okay, so I'm going to start here in January, and you see in January I was doing my what I like to call my areas of focus. So you can see I have my areas of focus: personal growth, family relationships, health and wellness, professional, crystal clear life, creativity, finance, home environment, and garden. Those are my main areas of life that I'm involved with, okay? And so what I try to do in this one is just write down the things that I need to pay attention to in each of those areas of my life for that particular week, okay? Then I have some standard chores down here that I have to do every week. And then I had a place for my designated meetings and to track some of my time and that kind of thing, okay? And all of this sits on my black notebook that I created for this year with the spiral down the side, and I have the tabs going across the top, okay? And those are links that take me to other things in other notebooks, okay? All right, so then let's jump to February and see. I think I was using the same thing in February. So here we are. This is I guess the second week or third week of February. And again, it looks like I'm doing the same thing using my areas of focus. I have my tasks there. You see not as many things are checked off. Those purple circles are not as filled in on this one. But there is lots of things going on down here, especially in the beginning of the week. Okay, and then let's look at March and see what was happening in March. Let's see, March is over here under my drop down. All right, so in March, apparently I was getting a little bit bored as well, and I started jazzing things up a little bit. I started adding some stickers. I remember using this cat art supply theme of stickers, and I was doing some watercolor painting at the time, or just starting to do some watercolor painting at the time. So I added some of these stickers here, and that was really nice. I really liked that, okay? Let's move on to April and see what was happening in April. Okay, so April, if you take a look at April, April is very different. This is when I started creating the Hobonichi weeks layout. And so you see here, I did just the 3 columns kind of that Hobonichi weeks kind of lays out in there, planners, and then they have that big whole second page just for you to take notes and all that kind of stuff on. So you see here, I have a few stickers listed on here. And I do have all of this space over here for notes. And I did change up the colors and that kind of thing just a little bit, but I'm still using my black notebook. And I do have still my links at the top and my daily links on the side, okay? All right, so then that was month 1 of Hobonichi weeks. So let's look at May. And May, I am still starting to kind of refining how I'm using the Hobonichi weeks. At this point, I was putting appointments that were definite things that had to be done on that day, time-specific appointments in this first box, and then tasks in the middle, and then any notes and things that I had related to whatever happened during the day was going in this third column. So I started kind of figuring out how I wanted to be able to use my week's layout, okay? Then I had this other page over here for notes, which I was using from time to time, and I was using my weekly kind of icon related housework and chores and that kind of thing. And then I would simply highlight them when they were completed. I didn't have them done on a specific day. I just said, you know, during the week, I got to clean out the car. I got to clean the cat pots. I got to, you know, do that kind of thing. And I was able to do some memory keeping on here as well. So I like the fact that I had a little bit more space on here to do some memory keeping. So that was kind of nice. So May was Hobonichi weeks. All right, let's go and look at June. Here's June. And in June, you see, I really was getting into the memory keeping here on the side. Did some day trips. I love to do day trips to small towns around the area. Took some friends with me. We had a parade celebration in one of the towns. We completed this awesome puzzle that, I don't know, it felt like it took forever to do. And then once we were finished with it, it was one of those puzzles where you put the whole thing together and then there's another letter that says, oh, you think you're done? No, move these pieces around. And then there was a whole nother section in the middle that needed to be done. So that was challenging, to say the least, okay? All right, but you see here, again, I've changed up my stickers. I have a different set by the same creator of those cute cat stickers that I was using back in March. And, you know, it's working out for me. I'm kind of liking the way the Hobonichi weeks is working. It's very simplistic, but I'm not able to track a lot of things that I used to track. So I was feeling a little like I was getting in my groove with the Hobonichi weeks, but I wasn't really having everything that I was used to having or that I like to have, okay? All right, so then comes July, and in July, I stuck with Hobonichi weeks because at this point, I figure I'm learning to use it pretty well. This was early in the month of July, and you see, again, I have different colors. This was after the 4th of July, so my stickers went from being patriotic to being ice cream because it's International Ice Cream Month, and I was going to be taking a friend out for ice cream. My husband and I went to a concert, so I could do some memory keeping about that. So it was really okay. But you see, I'm not filling in everything. I'm not in my planner every single day like I should be, okay? And that causes me some stress. I like to have things all written down out of my head on paper, know exactly what I'm doing, and, you know, get it done on time. I also like to back plan, I guess is what you could say. So what I mean by that is not going back and filling in things after the fact, but I like to do things like I told you I was taking a friend out for ice cream. I wanted to have brownies to go with that ice cream and put a candle in it so she could blow it out, you know, and all that kind of thing. It was kind of a group thing that we were doing. And so when I say back plan, I knew that the event was going to be on a Saturday, so I wanted to back plan and make sure that Friday was the day that I baked the brownies and Thursday was the day that I went to the grocery store to make sure that I had all of my things. So I'm taking that one task of making brownies and breaking it down into steps and plotting those steps in my calendar so that I know that everything gets done on time, okay? Now, as I'm preparing for August, I'm thinking, I feel like I'm not in my planner as much, and I want to take a look at some of the other weekly layouts that I've used, or hopefully you guys will give me an idea of a great weekly layout that you like that I could try maybe for the month of August and September. Okay? Let's look at our basic month. The basic month is where I set up a basic month that I can copy month after month. And what I do here is I have all my dailies listed. I have my regular master inbox list, my regular dashboard, my meal planning page, all of that. But down here at the bottom, I have a couple of different weeklies that I've used in the past, okay? So first of all, there's my areas of focus. I just showed you that. I was using that at the beginning of this year. So that's the same there. Then I have my Hobonichi weeks that I kind of put together. And here it is, all plain and stripped down. There's no color, no graphics or anything like that, no stickers. It's just very, very plain, okay? Then I have what I call my GTD weekly, and GTD stands for Getting Things Done. That's based on David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. And you can see here that David Allen talks about a lot of lists, right? And he keeps a list for projects that you're working on, and a list for, goals and things that you might need to do, people you need to communicate with, things that you're waiting on, errands that you need to run, things that you need to buy, all of that kind of stuff, okay? So this particular weekly page was designed based on that GTD method, okay? I still had a place down here where I could record events and things when they were happening, but up here, the top of the page was really my workhorse. It really helped me know what I needed to get done, okay? So that's my GTD weekly, okay? This one is called my 2026, just because I moved it into this notebook, weekly tasks breakdown. So here what I've done is I have a meal plan. I have what I need to do for my crystal clear video for that particular week. And then I have my weekly tasks broken down by what day of the week I like to do them, okay? So you see here under Monday, I have my morning routine that I like to do. Monday's also a day that I usually do some laundry, towels, sheets, that kind of thing from the weekend. I do a financial check-in, pay bills, close out anything that I need to for that. Monday is a day that I like to go grocery shopping, check the pool chemicals and the filter if it's summertime. And then I also like to go out and work a little bit in the front garden. Then that leaves me this other column to write down any appointments or scheduled things, other things that I need to get done on that particular day. Okay. Then I also have my same GTD list over here, errands and to buy, who I need to communicate with, who I'm waiting on, what projects I'm working on, all of that kind of thing. Okay. So I like this one too. And then I also have my weekly goals laid out over here and my weekly tasks that I need to get done. And so that's kind of, it's nice to have all of these things written down in one place. And I think that's really what I was missing with the Hobonichi weeks. Now, could I go in and add some of these things to that whole blank page on the Hobonichi weeks? Absolutely. And I may do that. I may, kind of create a hybrid, but I'm really just kind of thinking about it and figuring out what I want to do. Okay, so those are 4 of the weeklies that I've done in the past. Let me see if I can find a horizontal weekly that I've done in the past. It was a few years ago, so let me go look for that. Okay, so if I go back a few years, 3 years actually, in February, you see I kind of have a horizontal weekly that I was doing with timed events and then other things that I needed to do. I had a link to my Google Calendar up here. I had my top focus, my projects that I was working on, my meal planning, all of that kind of thing, my weekly to-dos that I needed to do, kind of a Alistair method of activities or tasks that I needed to do and what day of the week I actually was able to get them done on, errands, things to buy, that kind of thing. And I also still had a place for my weekly gratitude and my wins. I really liked this page. It was really nice, and maybe this is something that I should flag. Let me actually make a copy of that, and I'm going to throw it back in 2026 just so I can keep that kind of top of mind. So I'm going to make a copy of that, and I'm going to take it to 2026, and I'm going to put it in my basic month, and I'm going to make a copy of that page just so that I have it in my basic month to remember. Okay? All right, let's time travel back a little bit farther. Okay, so if I look way back here in 2021, 5 years ago, you can see that I was using kind of a modified, weekly task. So I have my tasks here and then my appointments here on the side. And again, I still have all of my lists over here about who to call. I'm very much into GTD, if you can't tell. And I like to use those particular lists. They work well for me, and I like that very much, okay? Then you can see over here for Crystal Clear Life, I actually had the whole week planned out in my schedule and everything that I needed to do for a Crystal Clear Life, my YouTube channel, okay? All right, so that's similar, so I'm going to leave that one. Let's see if I can go to a different month. All right, here in October of 2021, this is even a different layout. So I have, some of those lists floating around up here at the top. I have some different trackers that I'm using on here. I have my morning and my evening routine, and then I have a large section for the tasks that I want to get done every day, and my times are all laid out here. It's not just an empty block of space, but I actually put the times from 9 to 5 in there. Okay, so that one's kind of different too. Let's make a copy of that one just so we remember. Copy. And I'm going to take it to basic month, and we'll make a copy of that one as well. I know there's just a good old horizontal layout in here somewhere. Okay, here it is. This is one of my very first layouts that I created. Very simple, but I loved its simplicity. It was simply Monday, write down the appointments that you have. Tuesday, write down the appointments that you have, and then a place for notes and a place for a big list of things to do. Okay, so I liked that one a lot as well. I'm going to add that to my weekly, make a copy of that. Basic month, let's put it right in there, make a copy. Okay, now if I go back to my current planner and I take a look at that basic month, I now have added down here at the bottom that one from February, which I think is really cute, and that one from October, and that one from 2020, okay? So I have a couple of different options to choose from. But one thing that I could do also is, you see the backgrounds of these, the style of notebook is different. So this one has a picture background. This one has like kind of an Art Deco kind of background, and both of these older notebooks have that center line, that center spiral down the middle. So that's something I could change. I could change the background of my notebook. I could change the position of my spiral, or I simply went here with a solid black background, which I always really liked, with that central spiral that really looks like a binder to me, or a notebook to me, okay? So I could do that. And in fact, I played around with a few of those things last year when I was trying to figure out what color notebook I wanted for this year. So I actually created, here you see a burgundy notebook. Here's one that's a dark charcoal gray, a purple plum, a green, which I've used a couple years ago. I like that dark green. And here it is kind of with, the spiral down the middle and a place for tabs on each side, and the burgundy and the black, okay? So I'm going to be making a few changes to my notebook. What I'd like to do is ask for your help. Give me some ideas for weekly layouts that you like or that you have used. They can be, standard, You know, like I use the Hobonichi Weeks. You could tell me what the brand is or that kind of thing, or you could sketch out a picture and send me an email. That would be fine as well. But I do want to make some changes because I'm finding that I'm using my planner less and less, and I don't like that. I like to have it all out of my head in the notebook because I don't like that feeling that I'm forgetting something, okay? All right, well, hopefully you guys are not getting bored with your planner. Hopefully you are happy and chugging along. But I do want to say the one great thing about using a planner that you create yourself in OneNote is if you are getting bored, it is so easy to change it up. Buy some new stickers, borrow some colors from a paint palette that you love where somebody's already done the work for you of putting those calming colors together. Use that and create really a planner that you are excited about going to every single day to check in, to write down, to mark off, to do all of the things that you need to do so that you can live that more simplified life. That's really our goal for everything, is to be able to get everything done and not have to stress about it. Okay, well, I look forward to your comments about which weekly layouts you think I should try. I'm excited to do that. And stay tuned for future videos. If you would like to see what I've been working on and not miss any videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like, subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. You can turn that notification bell on. Please feel free to share this with anybody that you think might be interested in using OneNote for their life management tool or their planner like I do. And until next time, here's hoping that you can live a more simplified and organized life through better planning. I use OneNote. Until next time, okay. Bye.